Alex English is over 70 now, and looking back at how he was treated during and after his incredible NBA career remains deeply sad. This man was the leading scorer of the entire 1980s, a decade filled with legends like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan. Yet somehow English never got the respect he deserved. Think about this for a moment. In basketball's golden era, when superstars dominated every conversation, one player quietly outscored them all. Alex English put up more total points than any other player throughout the 1980s. But instead of celebration, he faced constant criticism about empty stats and was completely ignored when the NBA created their most prestigious honor lists. The story of Alex English is both inspiring and heartbreaking. It shows how a player can dominate statistically while being overshadowed by flashier personalities and bigger market teams. His journey from a second-round draft pick to the decade's scoring champion is remarkable. But the way he was treated, both by teams and by basketball history itself, reveals some uncomfortable truths about how we value greatness in sports. English's path to stardom wasn't easy. The Milwaukee Bucks drafted him in the second round in 1976, but he barely saw playing time behind established players in Don Nelson's system. A move to the Indiana Pacers as a free agent gave him more opportunities and he started showing his scoring ability. But it was a mid-season trade in 1979-80 that changed everything. The Denver Nuggets acquired him for veteran George McGinnis, who was past his prime. That trade transformed English's career completely. In Denver, he found the perfect environment for his skills to flourish. His first full season with the Nuggets in 1980-81 saw him average 23.8 points per game. By 1982-83, he captured the NBA scoring title with 28.4 points per game. This was just the beginning of an extraordinary decade of offensive excellence. What made English special wasn't just his scoring, it was his incredible consistency and durability. He became the first player in NBA history to score 2,000 points in 8 consecutive seasons. During his 15-year career, he missed only 14 games out of 1,230 possible games. This quiet durability was like a hidden superpower that allowed him to maintain elite production year after year. His playing style was pure artistry. English was known for his silky smooth jump shot and soft-running one-hander in the lane. Observers called him smooth, efficient, and graceful, with unmatched shooting and driving skills. He was particularly effective with mid-range jumpers executed within 10 to 15 feet of the basket. English himself viewed his contributions through an artistic lens. In his Hall of Fame speech, he thanked fans for understanding his artistic contribution to the game of basketball. But this beautiful, effective style came with a cost. English's game lacked the highlight potential that often captivates audiences. He didn't throw flashy dunks or make spectacular plays that dominate highlight reels. In an era of larger-than-life personalities, his quiet, methodical excellence failed to capture widespread attention. English acknowledged this himself, saying, "I was not a flashy player. I didn't do a lot of dunking. I think people thought I was quiet and maybe too cerebral and not interesting." The system English played in both helped and hurt his legacy. Doug Moe's coaching philosophy in Denver emphasized a high-octane, free-flowing offense. His teams frequently led the NBA in pace of play and points per game. The system had a 2-second rule for holding the ball, constant player movement, and relentless pace that created open shots. One former player described it as playing on the playground with your best friends. English was the perfect fit for this system. His efficiency, ability to create shots without dominating the ball, and intelligent movement allowed him to flourish. The fast-paced offense played to his strengths perfectly. However, this system came with a significant trade-off. Denver's teams were often among the league's worst in points allowed per game. This defensive weakness led to the empty stats criticism that followed English throughout his career. Critics argued that his impressive statistics didn't translate into ultimate team success. The Nuggets reached the Western Conference Finals only once during English's prime, in 1985. They were perennial playoff contenders with 9 consecutive playoff appearances, but typically suffered early exits due to their defensive shortcomings. The criticism wasn't entirely fair when you consider the context. Denver's league-leading pace naturally inflated raw statistics for all their players. This foreshadowed modern basketball analytics and how pace-adjusted statistics provide more equitable player comparisons. English's career serves as an interesting case study for how raw production can be interpreted differently based on team style and system. Despite the criticism, English's individual achievements were remarkable. He was selected to 8 consecutive NBA All-Star games from 1982 to 1989 and earned 3 All-NBA second-team honors. When he left Denver, he was the franchise leader in nearly every significant offensive category, including career points, assists, games played, and minutes played. His jersey number 2 was retired by the Nuggets in 1992. The most telling examples of English's under-recognition came with his exclusions from the NBA's 50th anniversary team in 1996 and the 75th anniversary team in 2003-2021. Despite being the 1980s leading scorer and a Hall of Famer, he was left off both prestigious lists. The 75th anniversary snub was particularly painful since they added 25 more players to the list. English learned about his 75th anniversary exclusion while watching television, describing the experience as a sting. He questioned why other prolific scorers like Dominique Wilkins and Bob McAdoo were included while he was omitted. So what reason was I not included? Is it because Dominique was a great dunker? I feel that he belongs there as well. So does McAdoo. They were great, but my body of work was just as good. English attributed these omissions to his understated style, which wasn't conducive to being associated with such a flamboyant sport. Several factors likely contributed to his exclusions: playing in a smaller market, lack of championship success, a game described as simple and effective rather than spectacular, and being overshadowed by more glamorous players and teams. One of the most fascinating what-if stories in English's career involves a trade that almost happened in early 1982. The Denver Nuggets had reportedly agreed to trade English to the San Diego Clippers for guard Freeman Williams. Coach Doug Moe later revealed that the deal was done. He heard about it at the dog track and was initially happy because the franchise couldn't afford English at that point. However, Clippers owner Donald Sterling nixed the deal at the last minute. Sterling reportedly asked a journalist, "Do I really need Alex English? Is he a superstar?" This decision proved to be a monumental misjudgment. English went on to average 26.2 points per game over the next 9 seasons in Denver, solidifying his Hall of Fame career. Meanwhile, the Clippers continued their struggles, and the players they eventually acquired didn't come close to matching English's talent. This near trade underscores how easily NBA careers and franchise fortunes can be altered by subjective assessments and financial pressures. Had Sterling approved the deal, English's iconic Denver legacy would never have materialized, and the Clippers might have acquired a franchise-altering star. English's departure from Denver was also less than ceremonious. After the 1989-90 season, when his scoring average dropped to 17.9 points per game, the Nuggets chose not to renew his contract. This abrupt end disappointed English, who had envisioned a more celebratory conclusion like other franchise legends received. He wanted to make a farewell tour around the league, but never got that opportunity. Despite his Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame induction in 1997 and his retired jersey, questions about English's place in NBA history persist. His career demonstrates that a player's legacy isn't solely defined by statistics or even Hall of Fame enshrinement. It's a complex mix of playing style, team success, market exposure, media narrative, and subjective evaluations of greatness. English achieved undeniable statistical greatness, but didn't fit neatly into the dominant superstar narrative of his era. While his style wasn't as flamboyant as celebrated contemporaries, and his teams didn't reach championship heights, his decade-long scoring dominance and unwavering consistency warrant higher recognition than he typically receives. Alex English embodies the quiet professional, a player who consistently performed at elite levels without demanding the spotlight. This archetype may not win popularity contests, but the weight of his accomplishments and dignified professionalism provide a lasting model of impactful greatness that deserves more prominent recognition in basketball history.